Alright, g'day, hi and welcome. Okay, so after, I guess, yesterday's snowstorm and the raining and all, it looks like something was having fun here anyway. And there is a trap in there. And, oh, it's not quite covered. But I can't tell if there's anything. Is that the log? Yeah, that's the log. I don't want to set this off. Oop. I'll just leave it like that. Yeah. I'll just leave everything like that. That's not too bad. Okay, that was up high enough. It'll open up again, so if anything, it'll spark curiosity. I wonder what this was. So it was like hanging around down there, and yeah, my other trap over there is good and buried. This one I unburied it. And I think a rabbit tried to knock down one of my snares. Stupid little rabbit. What was he thinking about? What was he thinking? Who does he think he is? I don't think I'd catch him in a snare that big, but you never know. It'd be kind of funny if I did. It's like a little tiny rabbit, a big snare. Chances are, though, I'd be coming back to a half-eaten rabbit, though, if he got caught in the snare. I got a little coyote or fox or something. He's running in circles here. Maybe that was him down there. That was probably him down there. And he turned short of my trap, so phooey on him. Who does he think he is? Not going in my trap or my snares. Some animals are just downright rude, you know what I mean? Put in all that work for them, and they give you a furless day. Who do they think they are? Who do they think they are? But I gotta tell you something. This snow really got high. I'll show you what I mean. Well, see this log here? Look on top of it. So that's a good 2 feet there. The water came up a bit, I guess, with all the rain and everything. I gotta reset this, rebait this. So you can see all the messing around there on the other side. You're just like having some fun over there, I guess. And then look at this log. This log was usually a massive step over it, and again, it's like you know, it's already about a foot or so off the ground, and I'm just like that. And there's that tree. We're going to talk about that tree. I'm not throwing my tomahawk today, because if I miss, not that I ever miss, not ever, it'll go under that and I won't find it till spring. So considering these snares were a foot or two off the ground, they're almost touching the snow now. I'm going to fix up my sleigh maybe later today, and I got to go to the library, do the uploading. I got 2 beaver pelts to flesh, but I'm not going to flesh it because they're not going to make it. You need to go over there, sir. Big tracks means big animal, and you need to go over there into my snares. What the hell's the matter with you, man? We got wolves and coyotes walking all over the place, and they're missing everything. What are they, stupid? Get into my trap. Get into my trap. Yeah, that's definitely a, I can't see the perfectly, but that's a good sized wolf track there. But anyway, yeah, so hopefully I catch one soon. Yeah, I was gonna bring back a whole bunch of beaver bait today, but I gotta put sides on my sleigh so that I don't have beaver carcasses rolling off my sleigh on the way back, because that would be kind of gross. But once I get this whole strip here, I will be dragging bait on it just to get the smell on the trail. And then I've got to, my fleshing pails are full, so I got to get some conibears. I think I got my conibears fixed up. I'm going to test those today and see if I can get those out. But as far as the 2 beaver pelts that I got, and unfortunately I didn't catch anything today, you know, if I got a fur every second day, that wouldn't be so bad. But when you go, you know, like I'm just praying that those beavers didn't get wise to the traps, that I still catch a few more of them out of there. 2, if I catch 7 or 8, I'm okay, but I've only caught 2. That's good. See a little bunny hopper ran right underneath my snare, and my other trap is completely covered. There's a chickadee in there saying, hey, you're gonna unbury that trap for me today, right? There's food in there. I'm hungry. And you didn't bring any fries with that, sir. That's what that chickadee just said to me. So anyway, yeah, so I know if it'll probably take about 4 days. Beaver pelt probably takes about 4 days to dry in the basement, but to dry really well, I like to give them at least 2 weeks. I know like some people don't think that would think that would be too long, but what I really don't want, even though when you send your furs up they're stored in a very cool area and stuff like that, it's just I don't want the greases and oils running at, which they're already going to run no matter what, but I want the majority of that stuff, as that pelt gets tighter, when you bring them inside, they just, I mean, it's almost like there's water running off of it, and that's all that grease and stuff like that. And if it gets too warm, all that grease stuff, you keep wiping it away, because if not, it'll keep the pelt kind of damp, and then it'll begin to rot. Plus it smells really bad. So after about 2 weeks, it kind of dries up some of that grease and stuff like that, even when you bring it in. You know, it is what it is, but so that means in the next couple of days I'm going to find out how much I like stapling beaver pelts to the boards. I think it's going to be a lot of work getting all those staples out, but it's probably not going to be that bad. Is it going to be any worse than pulling out the tacks? I don't know, we'll see. But the thing is that for the rest of the season I should be cleared up on trapping boards and stuff like that, because I mean the rest of my season is basically going to be beavers and wolves as soon as I catch one. So my goal is to, for the next couple of days, to start to prepare my furs for shipment, and that'll be the first one. I'm kind of excited actually, just more for the process of it, because it'll be a long time before I see the check and how the fur prices are going to do, because the auction is a couple of months away. But it's just going to be interesting to I wonder if it's the same guy driving. Probably is, because it's like when I was strapping, it's like I gave up for a year or two and I got back into it, and it was the same guy, and he was like a little more gray the next time I see him. So I wonder if he's like fully gray, because it's been about 5 years since I last strapped, or whenever it's been. So I'm gonna get all the furs ready, but I want to make sure that the furs that are going up are really ready, that they're, you know, there's going to be no issues with grease and oil and stuff like that, you know, excessive grease and oil and stuff like that. So that's probably why I'm not going to send these 2 furs on this batch, although I think they would be excellent furs to send on this batch. And this is the auction that kind of fetches you the most money. The second auction, it doesn't really, I don't know if the auction itself, like the buyers are just not as enthusiastic, or if it's just that that's all the late pelts, so it looks like the fur prices are dropping, but you still get the same for the prime pelts. So what you should do is, if you go onto the, say, like Fur Harvesters auction, that's who I use. NAFA is no longer. I've never used them, but I know a lot of people in the States were using them. A lot of people like in the Midwest were using them, and a lot of people in like Saskatchewan and Alberta were using them as well. But compare the prime pelts from each auction, you'll see a bit of a drop as it goes. It's still going to be like, if you know, a late season or an early season pelt is never going to fetch you what a prime pelt is, or a select pelt. So you have 3 grades: grade 1, which is what you want; grade 2, grade 3. Now select is the most prestige of the most prestige. That's the best of the best of the best. Top dollar, top dollar, top dollar. And that's kind of, there's a lot of things that factor into that, more than just being a prime pelt. It's kind of like they're looking for a prime pelt. You know, a buyer might be looking for a prime pelt, but that prime pelt has to be of a certain shade, you know, a certain type of hair length and or whatever. And that's what like, there's a lot more that goes into the select pelts, and if you get select pelts, you know it's going to be a good payday. So this year I don't know if I'll have any select pelts, but whatever. One little update on that otter that I caught there. That one dried in about 4 days. Early season otters are really greasy and fat, and you know, you got to fight with them. And somebody was asking me about my knife, my caribou knife, fleshing knife. I'll do a separate video on that later on when I have time. I do like the knife. It is a good knife. But there's, what do you call it? This otter, when you catch your early otters, early season, before it gets really cold, It's like they're not feeding off the fat stores yet, so they're still tough as a freaking leather, dried out leather boot to skin and flesh and all that, but they still hold a lot more grease and fat in the pelt, so they take a little longer to dry. And sometimes an otter can rot on you if you you know, if it just stays too greasy, so you got to keep wiping that grease off. But then the later pelts, and the same with the beavers, after they've, you know, they're prime and they've been feeding off their fat stores a bit, it tends to basically dry quicker, because the pelt itself is not as saturated with the greases and the oils, because the animal's already feeding off of that. So that helps them to dry a lot faster. So basically what I'm saying is, if you're going to trap, like I talked about in earlier videos a long time ago when I first started this this season, I was saying, when's the best time to trap? Well, for many reasons, prime furs are the best of trap. Number one, they're going to get you top dollar. Number two, that's usually when it's the coldest and they've fed off the fat stores, so they might not necessarily be easier to flesh or skin, but they're not necessarily any harder as long as you get to them in time. But one thing about the otters, get to them like at least a day. You want the whole process done within a day or 2 or 3 days max when they're, you know, prime, because if not, you're going to have to basically fight for every inch of that otter